When we're alone, we feel like, we don't have the resources to deal with things in our life. We don't have the resources to enjoy things in life, right? And so that kind of impacts us and compounds those effects of that to the point that we feel sick more often. Our susceptibility to disease goes up. More mental health issues too, because then we can, people who are lonely are twice as likely to feel depressed. And our risk for chronic disease goes up, our risk for stroke and cardiovascular disease, all of these things go up. So there are a number of different ways that this impacts us, and behavior too. Like, sometimes, we know that practicing good, healthy lifestyles is good for our well-being, but when you're feeling lonely, that's not something that comes to your mind. But you don't want to go out and go for a walk for yourself. You don't want to eat right or cook well for yourself. So there's those indirect sort of mechanisms too. How does social connection impact our well-being at work, right? So one, social connection is such a critical part of well-being as employees, right? So if we want to be happy employees, think about what makes you happy at work, right? And having good social relationships is great for us, because then a lot of us meet friends through work, right? And they become these really long-standing relationships and friendships. So it's good that way. And so it also helps us be better employees in terms of our performance, right? So it makes us more effective team players, right? So if we enjoy working on a certain project together, and I have my friend or my colleague who I really like is working on it with me too, then I'm happier. I'm more enthusiastic. So teamwork is so much better. The outcomes of that, so productivity goes up. And also because social connection is such a big important determinant of well-being, healthcare costs come down. Right? So you keep employees who are healthy on the job, you're also going to have good bottom lines for your company as well. Cigna came out with this really big number that loneliness is sort of costing companies $154 billion annually. And where that comes from is absenteeism. So a lot of people are, when you're not feeling good on the job or you're stressed out. So it's really from these preventable causes, right? So being lonely and feeling more stressed and feeling sick from that, or just not wanting to come to work. So absenteeism and the loss of productivity is hiking up those costs quite a bit for companies. And so that's why it's so important to tackle well-being. One, to make sure that your employees are healthy, but also are specifically well-connected socially in their workplace. So there are a number of ways that loneliness at work for an employee level can really impact the bottom line. And one way that happens is directly with your healthcare costs, right? And because we know from the science that loneliness can make us sick more often. It increases the risk for developing a number of chronic diseases, increases the risk for heart disease, depression and anxiety, and increases susceptibility too to just infectious illnesses as well. So those, because companies often pay, right, health insurance for cover health insurance, that's going to get impacted. You'll see more claims going up. But other than that is also absenteeism. People just don't, if you're lonely, you're not likely to want to come to work, right? You don't feel like going to work. That indirectly, if you're lonely, it increases the risk that you get sick and you get absenteeism. So ultimately, it's coming down to the absenteeism piece and the lack of productivity. And that's how those costs go up eventually. If I had to pick one thing that an employer could do, it's making a good daily work experience. So build it into your project meetings, build it into your project management, build it into the company's mission that you want happy employees on the job. You want people who care about each other on the job, because ultimately that's what will make people want to stay at their job.